Kingdom Hearts is complicated, not just literally, but in terms of its importance to me. I played the second one when I was younger, and I adored it, despite not having a clue what was going on, and for the longest time I've meant to go back to the very beginning and experience the entire story, especially with the recent release of Kingdom Hearts 3. It's been just over 2 months since I caught up with the series, and overall I like it. I'm glad I experienced it, and playing Kingdom Hearts 2, actually knowing what was going on, was really rewarding after all these years. I really like some of the characters, and Kingdom Hearts 2 is just straight up a fantastic action game, especially with the final mix content, and I personally think it's the peak of the notoriously inconsistent writing quality, with some of the series' best moments sprinkled throughout. However, despite being arguably the best in the series, I personally believe it's also the game that was the catalyst for the preceding storylines to become incredibly toxic and damaging to all the pre-established characters and arcs, which made the series gain the reputation of being riddled with holes, retcons and inconsistencies. So this is a companion piece to my original video on Persona 5, which you should check out by the way, as I am going to explain why I severely disagree with the series' approach to reveals and or plot twists within its story by examining a particular piece of information that is revealed about halfway through the second game, and how the error it made is felt throughout the entire series. And as you'd expect, spoilers for Kingdom Hearts 1 through Dream Drop Distance to follow, so if you want to avoid them, click away now. In Kingdom Hearts 2, as you're making your way through the Space Paranoids world, King Mickey appears to aid Sora, Donald and Goofy as they are stumped on what the password for the D2D is. A picture of a, at the time, unknown character is on the computer screen that you use to enter Space Paranoids. Mickey mentions that he's Ansem the Wise, and the gang write him off as pulling a prank because we defeated Ansem in Kingdom Hearts 1. After completing the Space Paranoid world, Mickey elaborates on this. The person you defeated in Kingdom Hearts 1 was a Heartless who was under the guise of Ansem. The real Ansem is a scientist who studies the heart. As you make your way through the game, it is revealed that Xemnas, the main villain, is the nobody of a character called Xehanort, and Ansem is this Xehanort's Heartless. There is a lot to unpack with these reveals, and none of it is particularly positive. This reveal is the metaphorical seed that grows into the massive tree of convoluted nonsense that the series is notorious for. This is a prime example of Nomura favouring unpredictability and shock factor over a satisfying moment in fear of it being too predictable or foreseeable. And the entire series suffers severely for his choice to write a twist with no build-up or foreshadowing or any type of setup. Absolutely nothing even slightly leads you to expect, or hell, even suspect that Ansem was perhaps not all who he seemed, or that Xemnas is related to him, and the character that is the direct cause of these two characters, Xehanort, has never even been mentioned or hinted at until Ansem the Wise revealed his existence. The result of revealing the main antagonist of the entire series out of seemingly thin air is the next 5 games in the series giving context and explanations which inevitably lead to a host of retcons and inconsistencies, because this reveal wasn't organically integrated into the story. Not only that, it also gives the overarching story of the series a pungent feeling of narrative lag, as Nomura is desperately trying to catch up to his own ideas, making game after game continuously patch up story beats that had no natural thread to them. Until Kingdom Hearts 3, it really does feel a lot more like you're trying to get up to speed for the final confrontation with Xehanort, not that you're marching towards a grand finale. As all of the new plot details you receive are almost always conveniently set during a time before Kingdom Hearts 1, or in a separate timeline. Speaking of which, let's talk about separate timelines. Dream Drop Distance is generally regarded as a big misstep in the Kingdom Hearts community, as it introduces time travel, and after spending 5 games trying to make all of the various unfound reveals make sense, Nomura tries to tie them all up in a big pretty bow by introducing time travel. This is the game that, after almost a decade, finally explains who Ansem actually was. Dream Drop Distance is everything wrong with Nomura's writing process encapsulated in one game. It retcons, it creates inconsistencies, and despite trying very hard to appear earned with its larger story moments, it doesn't. And it won't to anyone who's played up until this point. A fellow YouTuber, Xforts, mentions in his video when discussing Dream Drop Distance that he also didn't buy the pieces that Nomura tried to pass off as setup or foreshadowing for the time travel twist.
Which also works to explain who the Hooded Man was in the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 1, which apparently is Xehanort from the future as just a heart, which is why it's just like a blob inside a cloak. And I am not believing this at all, that when Kingdom Hearts 1 was written, this was intentionally supposed to be Xehanort from the future. Absolutely no way, because if it was, why wasn't he wearing an Organization 13 cloak? That seems like a way better way to disguise your appearance if you're traveling as just a heart, instead of just this dirty old thing.
Essentially, by this point in your Kingdom Hearts journey, you know Nomura's tricks, and you find it very hard to give him credit. I now want to talk about Xemnas, and how he is a prime example of a tragic victim to this style of storytelling. Xemnas is the main villain of Kingdom Hearts 2. Prior to Dream Drop Distance, he was easily one of the most interesting main antagonists in the entire series for me. To me, a good villain can be several things. They can be simply terrifying and skin-crawling like Kira Yoshikage, or they can just light up the stage with their personality like Vaas from Far Cry 3. But to me, the best villains make you empathise with them to such an extent that you begin to question the legitimacy of the claim that they are even villains. Xemnas falls under this category. Xemnas seeks to create an artificial recreation of Kingdom Hearts by manipulating Sora to kill as many Heartless as possible, as the hearts consumed by them will naturally float towards this artificial creation and cause it to take form. This is because, as a nobody, he has no heart. He does not feel, he does not empathise, and he simply does not care, but he wants to, and he believes that in creating a Kingdom Hearts, he will obtain a heart and be able to finally feel. This makes his seemingly cartoonish, villainous actions a lot easier to empathise with. He doesn't deliberately manipulate Sora and the gang to fight Heartless and save their Disney World friends because he's evil. He does it because he doesn't have the capacity to understand the weight of his actions. This gives him a sense of moral ambiguity. You may not agree with his methods, but all things considered, you get it. You get why he is doing this, and you almost feel sorry for the guy. Suddenly, you can't say he's a bad guy in the same way you can say Ansem. He's got layers. Why am I going on a tangent about why Xemnas is a good villain? Well, notice how I said prior to Dream Drop Distance he was the most interesting antagonist? That's because Dream Drop Distance reveals that nobodies can grow hearts of their own. This is another twist that has no foundation, that consequently completely destroys Xemnas' character. With this knowledge, everything he done in Kingdom Hearts 2 wasn't done simply because he didn't know any better. It was done for the cartoonishly evil reasons it seemed to be from the outside, just for his own genuine selfishness. I could go more in detail about how hearts can grow within nobodies or how the time travel thread tries to tie everything together, but my ultimate point will remain unchanged, and thus I am omitting these explanations. To tie everything together, the main point I'm drilling home here is the same one I brought up in my previous video. Now that both sides of the coin have been shown, would you prefer a story that is concise and satisfying at the risk of being predictable, or a story that is indeed unpredictable, but at the expense of destroying all storytelling presented to you before and after the fact?